Welcome back to Human. I am starting something where I just make a short mini episode, maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and it revolves around a Jess thought, something that I've been thinking about. So let's dive right in. Transition or waiting periods. These are periods where, let's say maybe you're in between seasons, you've quit a job and you're waiting to start a new one, or you're currently looking for a job, or you just finished exams and you haven't quite started your summer yet, you haven't started your summer classes or your summer job or your summer vacation. And in these periods, it's easy to feel really uncomfortable, really uncertain. When things are up in the air, this can be a waiting period where you're just literally waiting to figure out what's next and who are you going to become next. And I think the most terrifying part about these phases of life is we don't have a clear picture of what our day-to-day life looks like and who we are in that day-to-day life. But I think it's important to remember that when you are trying to decide what the next season or phase of your life is going to look like, there's no right or wrong. I get all in my head so often because I'm like, okay, for this summer, am I going to get a job doing this? Am I going to get a job doing that? Am I going to get a job at all? And I put all this pressure on myself that there's a right answer and there's a wrong answer, but there's not. Any decision I make will change the course of my life a little bit, but as long as I'm making a decision that feels aligned with who I am, what my goals are, and what my intuition is telling me, there's no right or wrong. And in these transition waiting periods of life, we can feel very scared and very lost and very directionless. I put that on my Instagram story just 2 days ago, that I felt very directionless because I hadn't completed any sort of work in a couple days. School, when you're in university or college or high school, when you're studying, you are always prepared and always used to submitting something and it getting a grade back. You're getting constant validation for the things that you're producing. So as soon as you're not in that environment, it can feel like, what am I doing? Who am I? Is this even worth it? Am I anything? Am I worthy? You can really doubt your self-worth. But these transition stages are so normal, and I think it's a time where you do question everything, and you can change so many things. You can decide what you really want your life to look like, or you can also have trust and faith in whatever you believe in, God, the universe, life, yourself. You can have trust that you are going to be guided to the right thing. Right now, I didn't even make any big plans about my summer. I knew I was going to take a few online classes and wanted to work on the podcast. But I didn't really know what my day-to-day life looked like, and it seemed terrifying to me. And it still feels terrifying because I actually ended up having this job interview kind of fall into my lap because of a mutual friend, and the position is looking for someone to hire, and it's the kind of job I've been looking for. But right now I'm waiting to know what my summer's going to look like, if I'm going to get the job, what my schedule will be like, and it's horrifying. And a part of that is because we try to control so much. We try to control what we can't control, and it can bring us so much anxiety. I think so much anxiety comes from the uncertainty of life, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing who you're going to be, and a bad thing can happen at any time, and anxiety comes from that too. But what if there's this flip side to it of, I don't know what's going to happen. Life can create something 10 times cooler than anything I could ever come up with. What if this is going to be even greater than I could have ever imagined? There can be power in embracing the uncertainty and knowing, you know what? I have to let go. I don't really have a choice. I can drive myself insane, or I can just say, you know what? I don't know what this is going to hold, and that's okay. Universe, take the wheel. Life, take the power. Spirit guides, do it for me. And during these waiting periods, if you do believe in something, I really recommend looking for a sign, looking from different signs from the universe. If you are into tarot cards or oracle cards, I just recently got oracle cards. I pulled a card that literally said, you're in a transition period. You need to just take a break, sit with yourself, Use this time to allow yourself to, do things that feel good for you and not keep running. We run so fast towards the next thing all the time. We're always planning the next appointment. We're planning the next vacation. We're planning the next hangout. We're always worrying about what's next. But the weird thing about these transition waiting periods is that you just have to be and sit with yourself and your thoughts, and that's scary. But what are you actually scared of? Are you scared of knowing yourself better? Are you scared of what you could actually create? Because a lot of times we think we're scared of failing. But how does it feel in your body if you were to succeed in the best way you could ever possibly imagine? That actually can feel scarier because of how powerful and incredible and radiant you might be if you actually create the life that you keep dreaming of. And there's no perfect life. There's no perfect situation where there's no problems. We're always going to have problems, I don't want to say we're always going to have problems, but always new challenges are going to come up. And tragedies do happen, and we cannot control that. So my advice during these transition periods is to sit with yourself. I felt like I needed a lot more introverted time alone in this time. I needed a lot more time to just watch TV or work on something creative or just, be alone, do yoga, work out, and that's normal. I think I'm in this huge transition period right now of starting to understand how much alone time I really need. And coming out of a pandemic is a big deal. We are coming out of working from home, being alone, barely seeing friends for 2 years. To be expected to be social every day, all the time, go out of the house constantly. I feel this inner battle within my body of like, I want to be able to do that, but I'm so tired and I'd rather be in my bed or I'd rather work at my desk in my room. And all of this is okay and all of it's normal. And I think the most important thing is to validate yourself. I find I've just been really just craving validation in this waiting period for me. Validate that how you're feeling is totally fine. And it feels weird and it feels uncertain. And when something feels uncomfortable, it can feel unsafe in our body. It does. It's if it's something we haven't experienced before, your body can process it as unsafe. But I think it's important to realize anxiety and excitement actually physiologically give the same response in your body. So are you anxious about what the future holds, or are you excited about what the future holds? And I think you can decide, because feelings aren't facts. I loved doing this quick 10-minute episode about just my thoughts. I feel like I stayed a lot more focused and I didn't go on a big whole story and tangent. But the last thing I want to say is that our 20s are entire transition periods. Maybe our whole lives probably are transition periods, but specifically I want to talk to in our 20s, things are constantly changing. Things are constantly evolving. We're really trying to figure out who the fuck we are and what the fuck we want to do with our lives. And that's a challenge in itself. You are constantly making a decision and then making a new decision and rerouting and changing your path. Your path is not linear. It will never be linear. You're just trying to figure out where you're meant to go. And that can take a long time. And I think we need to enjoy the moments when we have our routine. Give yourself a bit of stability. Give yourself a little bit of a routine. Don't go on your phone the first 30 minutes of being awake. Read, journal, meditate, yoga, whatever feels good for you. Go for a walk. You can do it. You won't be in this waiting period forever, but embrace that they come up often in life. And it doesn't need to be this horrible thing. Trust what the world's going to bring you. And I hope you get excited about the future, because I am too. Please follow on Instagram at human2humanpod to keep up with what we're posting. And if you like this episode, please share it with a friend that might be able to benefit from it. I know when I talked to one of my best friends recently, she was like, Jess, you always say you're in a transition period. And I was like, well, I pulled an oracle card and it told me, and I think we all are constantly in transition periods. I moved out of my house and I got a new job, and I don't have a job right now, but I might have a new job, and I finished school, and life just changes constantly. It's the only certainty. It's the only thing we can guarantee is that life is going to keep changing. So trust it and embrace the change.